Hello and welcome to another episode of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at Dynasty Dad FF. We're super excited. We just did a show talking about the 2027 first because everybody in the Dynasty community is absolutely hyped over that class. And they said, Dad, where's the 2026 first? Snoog and I are going to break down our top 10, maybe 12 to 13 guys in this class. Make sure you guys check out and subscribe to our page below. We are approaching 4,000 subscriptions. You guys keep coming out in droves. We love that. We love all the support. Snoog, without further ado, everyone keeps saying 2027 first. They keep saying make it a 27 instead of a 26. And traditionally throughout Dynasty, you look at whatever pick we have or what that dollar that's in your hand today is worth more than the one in 2 years, So like this class, we have it a little bit backwards. I think the 2026 class, as I start to dive into this, is a little underrated. I think the guys at the top 6 have some serious firepower. I mean, we're going to start right at the top with Arch Manning, who might fall into 2027. That's why we've referenced him to both. But the quarterback class, the running back class that's coming out next year is really going to reshape the Dynasty landscape once again.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one because I just want to go ahead and put this out there. There's good players in every single rookie class ever. Like there's never not been a rookie class where there hasn't been at least a couple of good players in terms of fantasy football value, at least in a long time. So I'm excited. I think Jeremiyah Love, Arch Manning, some of these guys are blue chip prospects, guys that would have been in contention for, 103, 104, 105, 106 this year in a class that had a really big top 6, top 7 guys as well. So I'm excited. 2027 is obviously the one we've been stacking for, but now's your time to start getting discounts on the 26 class.
Yeah, and we didn't cover him much on the 2027 preview because we were talking about it with 2026, but it sounds like the Manning family has already kind of said that they're really kind of pushing Arch Manning to stay another year, push into 2027. But let's talk about him real quick. I mean, he's a mobile pocket passer, and it sounds really awkward to say the same mobile. Manning and mobile, but
yeah.
He's someone, you look at him, he has 4.62 40. He is someone he just turned 20 years old, 6'4", 225 pounds. Snoog, he's someone that has great pocket awareness. He has that high football IQ like the Mannings have. But what's awesome is he has that added mobility where I think coming out in 2025, he would have been the 102. I think if he comes out in 2026, he's the clear-cut 101. But I think he's going to probably push to 2027 where he'll be the 102 behind Jeremiah Smith. No matter what, though, we're looking at a guy that, in my opinion, Snoog, you look at what he has, there's a lot of Trevor Lawrence in his game. There's a lot of Drake May. I think this is someone that you're going to see be a top 12 dynasty quarterback for years to come. And that's why I'm so excited about some of these early guys in 2026.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there. If Arch Manning goes out there next year, throws for 4,000 plus yards, absolutely lights college football on fire and wins the Heisman or has a crazy type season like that, he's going to the NFL draft. Like there is no doubt in my mind that if he's the projected number 1 overall pick, guaranteed $40+ million, that he's just going to sit there and say, no, I'm going to go in an even better class, wait, and maybe not even be the first overall pick. So he's definitely going to go if he balls out. The only way he doesn't is if he kind of has a little bit of a growing year, and he could get better. Then I could see him kind of taking the Texas to the next step in 2027. But like you said, rocket arm, extremely fast. He runs like a gazelle. He's that Konami code style of quarterback, not like a Lamar Jackson, but, Caleb Williams, Drake May type can run for 500 plus yards, and he has a rocket arm. So he's one of my favorite players to watch this upcoming season because he's going to light the league on fire.
And I think if he does come out, it is a 1A, 1B because Lanorris Sellers out of South Carolina is someone that I'm starting to really love when I start to look at things. I mean, the crazy part is they see him as a dual threat quarterback. You see Arch Manning as more of a mobile pocket passer, but Lanorris Sellers, both they ran a 4.62. He's just 19 years old, 6'3", 242 pounds, 18 touchdowns passing, 600 plus rushing with another 7 touchdowns. This is a guy very similar build to what we're talking about when you look at size wise to Anthony Richardson. Plays very similar to Drake May as well. I think this guy has the tools to really be that exceptional arm talent. He's a guy that could chuck the ball 55, 60 yards, no problem. Natural runner, can accelerate quickly. I mean, you see runs of him just breaking off for 70 yards. What you don't look at and you don't anticipate, because I had a lot of people, I put a tweet out there today and people are like, this is the next Anthony Richardson. he has advanced pocket presence. He is not just someone that is just thrown out there. He creates these explosive plays. I think Sellers is just going to be another game changer added to this class. He would clearly be the QB1 in 2025. I think he's going to be another guy that has top 12 to 15 dynasty quarterback upside to really produce as a fantasy football player.
Yeah, the thing with Sells that's fun is the highs are really high, right? But the lows are kind of low. So he still has a lot of growing in his game, kind of like you see from those big, fast, athletic, strong arm quarterbacks. But I think that there's a really good chance that if he puts it all together, he can have a Heisman type season. I still just see a lot of growing in his game, like compared to Arch. Like Arch goes out there, I think Arch looks ready to go. Like you can see the flashes, but like I think that's this entire quarterback class. Like we're gonna get into Drew Allar, we're gonna get into some of these big athletic gunslingers that are kind of project type quarterbacks, but teams like that, they want to take the chance on a Drake May and an Anthony Richardson, a Caleb Williams. He's just super flashy gunslinging quarterbacks that just get the job done. So I'm excited because this class has a bunch of them.
Yeah, and I think both these guys, if they come out in 2026, Snoog, they could be the 1 and 2 pick. Like that's how good these quarterbacks are. There's a running back in this class that you and I both absolutely love. Jeremiyah Love, no pun intended, would arguably have been the RB2 in this class coming out this year. Someone that is a dual role back. You start to look at some of the player comps that people have as Bijan Robinson light. A lot of people compare him to Travion Henderson because he's that 6 foot, 206 pound. He's not a 220. He's not a 230 kind of guy, but he can do it all. He catches passes out of the backfield, super explosive, one cut type of player. He has game breaking speed, like literally a track star himself. He is going to dazzle people at the combine. His open field creativity, unbelievable. Snoog, I think he's going to run sub 4.4. You know, he's going to be in that 4.3 to 4.4 range and just has the ability to take it to the house at any point. What excites me is he's made for today's NFL, just like Travion Henderson, just like Jahmyr Gibbs. He's that complete back who's just a little bit undersized, but damn, when he gets the ball in his hands, his processing speed, his ability to move, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and the best thing about him is he plays like an absolute freight train. He runs through people. He plays like a Genty. Like him through contact. I'm sure everybody saw that Penn State run on the goal line where he literally just dominated the entire Penn State defensive line and scored on the goal line. Like he is damn near a blue chip type running back prospect. He's like up there, like with the Breece Halls, the Jonathan Taylors, those type of running back prospects, in my opinion. He's the clear cut 102. If Arch declares, I think he's a clear cut 101. And I think he's fighting for 101 regardless. Like I think we can comfortably say that, Dad. And I think there's a good chance and a very high chance he goes in the first round. And like you said on previous shows, running backs that go in the first round that are the 101 never miss. They're always a hit. Like they always hit that 15, 16 plus fantasy points per game season. So he's a guy that you can pencil in if you kind of need a running back and you're kind of in that like bunch of wide receivers and quarterbacks, but nothing else. And you're kind of going to be like the pick 3, pick 4, maybe you could trade up and get him.
And I've been telling everybody that's in one quarterback leagues, I'm saying, rebuild to get Jeremiyah Love. Like you are going to be absolutely thrilled. You did it in 2024 to get Ashton Genty. Now you add him in there. All of a sudden your team is absolutely loaded at the running back position. The next guy here is also another running back. And Snoog, I want you to real quick, before I talk about Nicholas Singleton, I want you to talk about the 25 versus 26 class. I don't think Love is as high of a prospect as Ashton Genty, but putting him at 2, rank the big 5 from this class, and then the big 2 from next year. I want to hear how you have them 1 through 7.
Okay, so I would probably, as prospects, just based on like their talent.
If they all came out right now, exactly.
If they all came out right now, I think it would be Genty, Henderson, Love, Judkins, Hampton, Singleton. I think that's how I would kind of bunch them all together. But I think there's a damn good chance I would have Love over Henderson because I just think there's a lot more of a floor in terms of like durability, all that, and like just being a consistent goal line guy. I think Henderson's more boom bust than Love with the consistency between the tackles and all that good stuff.
And considerably younger. I mean, Jeremiyah Love is still just
19
20 years
old still. Yeah.
And Nicholas Singleton coming out, a little bit more of that bruising back. He's going to projected right now to run a 4.340 at his size at 6 foot, 227. He's going to make people excited. I mean, pretty much all of his measurables are above average when you talk about that. You look at where he projects, and he's someone that you look at the closest, metrics of who he looks like, very similar to Quinshon Judkins, the way he wins, someone that I think he has that exceptional burst. He has that controlled, quick footwork that you look at from Judkins. But this guy has elite top-end speed too. Snoog, he documented a 23.6 mile per hour run this year. Penn State knows how to get guys that are supreme athletes, put them into condition, put them to where they need to be, has that great, impressive contact balance that you want. He really is going to be, and we talked about it with the 2025 class, that those guys are going to be bell cows. He has that same thing. His pass protection improved this year. His receiving skills improved this year. I think this is a guy that will instantly be a top 12 dynasty running back with the right landing spot. I think he really is going to jump in day one as a starter.
Elite athlete, home run speed. We've seen it all over his tape. It's just that speed is ridiculous. And the best thing about him that kind of goes under the radar is he caught 26 passes for 300 yards in 2023. Last year, he caught 41 passes for over 375 yards and 5 touchdowns. He is like an absolute freak in the receiving game, and he's 6 foot, 227 with 4.3 speed. He's my favorite player in the 2026 class right now. We talked about him so much. He was in the same tier with Judkins, Henderson, Hampton for us because we thought he would maybe come out. He's right there with those guys. So you're going to get Jeremiyah Love and Nick Singleton, 2 elite running back prospects that would be RB1 or 2 in most regular RB classes, or fighting for that 2 or 3 in a Bijan class, those type of classes. But the speed, the receiving upside, that's what we're looking for, and they both have that. So that's why they're probably both going to be top 4 to 5 rookie picks. You think Singleton can be a first round NFL pick if he runs in the 4.3s at that size?
He's probably going to be a second rounder. I think he's going to fall just in that same area as those guys we're talking about, where Hampton, Judkins, and Henderson all went in the second round. But Snoog, this is why I keep telling people is I've been having people message me and say, hey, you know what? I'm interested in possibly trading my 26 first plus to move back into 2027. And I'm like, that's just not good process. That's not the good way to do things. Is the 26 class, the top 4 here, all 4 of these guys would be in that top 6 or 7 in this class. So they're very similar in that 2025 mold. I think they're going to also fall in that area. 2027, it's sexy. We know it. It's Jeremiah Smith. It's Ryan Williams. There's DJ Lagway. There's going to be some really sexy players. However, we have to assess what's in front of us in 2026. So if you're on the clock at 110 in 2025, you trade it for a 26 first plus a second in 2025, right? And then you get and do that same thing in 26 and you go into 27. But I think 1 through 6, this class is really good. Those 4, I think, really would be up towards the top of this class. There's 2 quarterbacks here who I have at 5 and 6. A lot of things can shake out. So we're not saying this is how it's 100% going to be, but both of these quarterbacks were projected to possibly come out this past year. Garrett Nussmeier, second generation quarterback behind his dad, Doug Nussmeier, 6'2", 200 pounds. One of the quickest releases in this class. He gets the ball out quickly at LSU. A lot of comps right now have him too similarly graded out to where Bo Nix was when he was coming out. And I think that's a good comp, a good area to be in. He's going to need a good system to absolutely thrive. But in 2024, over 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, led LSU to a 9-4 record. I think he has the tools at the next level with his arm talent, with his creativity to make all the different throws, having that football IQ with his dad as the quarterback. Snoog, I think he's going to go round 1. I think both Nussmeier and the next guy are both going to go round 1, and that's going to give them really good draft capital. How do you have let's talk about Nussmeier and then Allar as well. How do you have them compared to, say, Jackson Dart in this class? I think both of them fall behind Cam Ward. Talk to me first about how you compare Allar, Nussmeier, and Dart, and then let's start keeping going with Garrett Nussmeier here.
Yeah, I think with Dart and Allar, you're getting those raw athletic gunslingers. I think Allar has the highest ceiling out of any of them by far. I mean, you're getting a 6'5", 6'6",
He's
big
huge.
body
Yeah.
gunslinger type quarterback that's young still. Nussmeier, to me, I just don't see upside with him. I see like Mac Jones, maybe a Brock Purdy, maybe a Kirk
Hmm.
Cousins type of player. And to
Okay.
be that type of Kirk Cousins player, you need to be good between the eyes. I don't know if he is. I need to still watch the tape and kind of assess there. But he did have some big games. I watched some of his games last year, and he looked like he can be an NFL quarterback for sure. I think he's being projected to be a first round pick everywhere. I'm just
Hmm.
not sure like what the fantasy ceiling for a player like Gus Nussmeier will be compared to like if an Allar hits or a Klubnik or one of these kind of mobile athletic gunslingers hits. But I think Allar has the highest ceiling. I think Dart has a second highest ceiling. I think Nussmeier is the third highest ceiling. I do think
Hmm.
Nuss probably has maybe the higher floor out of the guys though, to be just like a Aiden O'Connell or I don't know, Kirk Cousins or someone just that can be a pocket passer, start a few seasons or be a upper high of like a Kirk Cousins type of player, like we said.
When you're talking Drew, when you're talking about Drew Aller, talking about a guy at 6'5", 238 pounds. That
Big,
is 92nd percentile. Someone that looks a lot like a Sam Bradford type. I think he has a very high ceiling. This year, he really improved on his ball security. You look at, he went 311 pass attempts without an interception. Most people forget that if he came out this year, there were a lot of people talking about he might be a top 5 pick, and then the playoffs came and he really had that game where you're like, whoa, what the heck happened here? Like down the stretch. But he's got elite arm talent, someone that has really good ball security, someone that has that mobility where it's kind of deceptive, like Arch Manning. Like I think he demonstrates advanced understanding with his timing, the way he moves. I think he's going to be a really solid NFL quarterback. And again, you're getting two guys here at 5 and 6, so I think both go round 1 in the NFL draft. Where Jackson Dart's ceiling is way up there. They're gonna need a good system though. They're not going to be the same upside as Sellers and Arch right off the bat.
yep, I agree. Absolutely agree. There's a good chance I think we get 4 or maybe 5 first round QBs in this class, but there's also a chance where there's 2. Like there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of ifs and what ifs in this QB class, but there's a lot of upside players. So I think it could end up being a really good QB class. Like we've seen 5 in
Mm-hmm.
2021. We've seen 5 in 2024. We saw, was it 5 again in 2020? It's happened quite often in the past few
Mm-hmm.
years. So just to see how it kind of all pans out.
The strength of this class is not the next position. It is not the wide receiver position. But there's two guys. I'm going to talk about one that's a little bit more well known. Obviously, Carnell Tate from Ohio State has that outside X type wide receiver, projected to run at that 4.58. Someone 6'3", 191 pounds. I like him a lot. I think he looks a lot like George Pickens out there. I think he's someone that is going to give you a ton of upside. But this is the interesting part, right? Like Ibuka this year had to take a back seat to Jeremiah Smith, right? And now Smith is going to outshine Tate yet again. You got to deal on Ibuka in 2025 because he wasn't the wide receiver 1. I think you're going to get the same thing here with Tate. Is he's just not going to be the wide receiver 1, so people are going to start to knock him down a peg, but he's still a very talented wide receiver.
Yeah, good separator, tracks the ball extremely well. He reminds me a lot of Terry McLaurin, and he's another
I
guy
like
coming
that.
out of Ohio State that was just really fundamentally sound, can kind of do everything, but not really anything very elite to make him be like this super high projected pick, but he can kind of do it all. Jordyn Tyson out of Arizona
Yeah.
State is a flashy, explosive, true sophomore breakout after missing all of 2023, transferring from Colorado, coming to Arizona State and balling out with Sam Levitt. He was their guy down the stretch, over 1,100 yards, 3.0 plus yards per route run, 70 plus receptions, double-digit touchdowns. Like this guy was all over the field, making plays downfield, underneath after the catch. I think him and Carnell Tate are kind of the 1A, 1B in this class. It's going to go either way. Probably Tyson probably has a higher chance at being like a high projected player, but I think Tate has a higher floor of being a
Mm-hmm.
pro ready, like ready to go wide receiver. But I think they're both kind of like the guys that you want to talk about at the wide receiver position in this class.
And we talked about the 2027 wide receiver class. These guys, pure talent
Would be
wise.
like wide receiver 6.
6. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 6'7". And that's kind of, a little bit trendy with the 6'7", but we're going here with that 6. Now we go with the next guy. We go with another quarterback. And that's crazy because we keep adding these quarterbacks. But I know you like this guy as well. Cade Klubnik, Clemson. Mm-hmm. You look at him, he is 6'2", 210 pounds, projected to run in that 4.65 40, very similar to what we were talking about with Arch Manning again. I think you see a lot of his game. It reminds me a little bit of where Ewers was last year, maybe a J.J. McCarthy. What kind of ceiling are we looking at for a guy like Cade Klubnik? Because he has a great deep ball. He's a very athletic quarterback that's going to give you a little bit of that, extra ability to run. Talk to me about Cade.
Yeah. To me, I see so much like Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix.
I like that.
J.J. McCarthy in his game, kind of that 6'1", 6'2", kind of good arm, mobile, can move around in the pocket, makes plays, like good playmaker. But he's not your Josh Allen. He's not your Justin Herbert. He's not your C.J. Stroud. He's not this big sniper gunslinger that, can put together 500-yard games, can consistently put together drives. But he's a splash playmaker. And I think he has a lot to improve for his draft stock. Like there's a chance he could end up being one of the best QBs coming out of this class if he just continues to build off what he is. And Clemson's the second-ranked team. Like they have so much over there where they're kind of in that point, like Bryant Westco. They have all these guys, Antonio Williams. Like they got guys that they're going to dominate with. And I think that there's a really, really good chance that he goes out there and throws 5K yards and puts up video game type numbers in this Clemson offense. So there's just such a high ceiling. TJ Moore's another one of the stud. They have like 3 stud receivers. So very interesting to see how his numbers are going to pan out.
And we referenced those guys in that 2027 class. Make sure you guys check out our 2027 rookie preview. And the reason we do these is to help you guys. We're not saying that this is guaranteed who's going to go where, right? But we do this so you can start to understand that if I trade my 27 first for Chris Godwin and a second, this is what I could give up. If I trade my 26 first for David Montgomery down the stretch because I need a running back, then you could miss out on one of these type of players. And there's other, Evan Stewart at wide receiver, Sam Levitt, who I like at quarterback. There's a running back you like here to finish up our top 10 who, there's guys in this class. There's Katron Allen. There's Mekhi Hughes. There's CJ Baxter. There's a lot of decent looking running backs. None of them have really asserted themselves like Singleton, like Love, but there's another guy that you kind of like here that is starting to really break away from the rest of the group.
Yeah. It's Darius Taylor from Minnesota. I think he's projected just a true workhorse, big body running back, explosive, true freshman breakout, had another big year in his sophomore year, can catch the ball well, can run between the tackles, consistent 3-down runner. It's the things that I like to look for in college football for running backs is just consistency. Are they their entire offense? Things like that, because that translates, right? Like we've seen it with plenty of running back. Breece Hall at Iowa State. You knew who Iowa State was in football because of Breece Hall while he was there, right? And because of Dave Montgomery when he was there, right? Because of Caleb Johnson, you knew Iowa. Like that's what I know Minnesota, and I watched Minnesota football last year because of Darius Taylor. And he's that guy that goes out there. Everybody on the field knows who's getting the football, and you still can't stop him. So that's one of those guys. Mekhi Hughes, like you mentioned, he's one that can get there. I think going to be Oregon starting running back-to-back huge years at Tulane after Tajay Spears just kind of washed through there. He's a guy that could be right there in that RB3 contention, kind of with Darius Taylor, both Big Ten running backs, and they're going to be pounding the rock for 1,000+ yards again this year.
Yeah, so I think the main narrative you guys got to stay away from is the 2026 class sucks, move to 2027. We did this with multiple classes in the past. You're like, 2019's not good. You want 2020, but there's a lot of good players in there. And you said the same with 2021. There's a lot of times where we start to have this narrative. We start to say this. If Arch Manning comes out and if we start to get some of these things, this class could shape up to be a really nice class. We got our Patreon link down below, patreon.com/SmashAccept. Make sure you guys check us out for $5 a month, all the way up to $20 a month based on what you guys are trying to do. We will help you with your roster construction, with your trades. You get all my content, Snoog's content. You get DM access to both of us, so make sure you guys check that out. And again, subscribe to that YouTube page. We're almost at 4K. We're hoping to do it by the end of the month. So thank you again, guys, for all the love, the support, and enjoy the process.